The dust storm raged across the alien desert, red sand cutting through the air like tiny blades. The human, Ethan Cole, pulled his hood tight as he stepped forward, clutching the translator device in his gloved hand. It was supposed to be his only way to communicate with the local aliens, the Zephyrians. The air shimmered with heat, and their city, built from glass-like towers, waited beyond the dunes. Ethan had come to make peace. Humanity's first contact mission had gone wrong 3 days ago. A misunderstanding during a trade deal caused an explosion, and now both sides were on the edge of war. The translator, a small silver cube with blinking lights, was his only hope to fix things. As he reached the city gates, 2 tall alien guards raised their weapons. Their blue skin shimmered under the twin suns, and their eyes glowed with a pale gold hue. Ethan held up the cube carefully. "I come to talk," he said, pressing the button. The cube blinked and translated his words into their language. But something was wrong. The aliens' eyes widened, not in calm, but in shock. They stepped closer, muttering fast. One raised a clawed hand toward him. What did I say?" Ethan asked nervously. A young alien woman stepped out from behind the guards. She wore white armor with glowing runes, her face calm but curious. She looked no older than 20 in human years. Her silver hair floated slightly, moved by unseen energy. She spoke softly in her language, and the cube translated. "You challenge our chief?" Ethan froze. "Wait, what? No!" I said I came to talk. The translator blinked again, the voice echoing. "He declares, trial of blood," the guards gasped. The woman's calm eyes narrowed. The air grew tense. Ethan felt his heart race. No, that's not what I said. The device, it's broken." He tried adjusting the cube, but static filled the air. The young alien stepped closer, her sharp eyes scanning him. "Human," she said slowly. "Your words. Dangerous. You do not know what you speak," he nodded quickly. "I swear I didn't mean it." The translator, "Look, it's old tech. It's malfunctioning." She tilted her head as if trying to decide whether he was lying. Around them, dozens of alien soldiers had gathered, murmuring and watching. The moment felt like standing before a volcano that could erupt at any second. Then an older alien with deep scars and golden armor appeared. The crowd went silent. The chief. His deep voice echoed through the air. "Human," the cube translated his words. "You come to our land and challenge me to battle. Why?" Ethan took a deep breath. "It's a mistake," he said firmly. The translator, "Something's wrong. I didn't challenge anyone." But the cube, glitching again, translated. "I did challenge you. Because I want your throne." The crowd gasped loudly. Spears lowered. The chief's eyes burned with fury. Ethan's heart pounded so hard it hurt. No, that's not what I said," he yelled. The young alien woman stepped between them, holding out her hand. "Chief, wait," she said quickly. "Let me test him. He may not understand our laws." The chief's eyes narrowed, but after a tense silence, he nodded once. "You will test him," he said. "If he lies, he dies." Ethan swallowed hard. The woman turned to him. "Follow me," she said. "Do not speak until I tell you to." As they walked through the glowing streets, Ethan could feel hundreds of eyes watching. The alien city was beautiful yet strange. Buildings of light, roads that moved under their feet, and floating orbs that pulsed like living stars. But the silence was heavy. He knew one wrong word could mean his end. Finally, they reached a quiet courtyard. The alien woman stopped and faced him. "You are foolish," she said softly. "Your device speaks lies, yet you still use it." Ethan sighed, rubbing his forehead. "I didn't know it was this bad. I just want to fix what went wrong between us." She looked at him for a long moment. Then her expression softened just a little. "My name is Lyra," she said. "If I believe you, maybe I can help." Before Ethan could answer, the translator crackled again. "Your name?" "Sounds beautiful," it said aloud, though he hadn't pressed anything. Lyra blinked, her face turning bright silver blue, the alien sign of embarrassment. She stared at him in surprise, then frowned deeply. "You speak strange things, human," she said. Ethan's eyes widened. "No, I didn't say that. Wait, it's the cube again." He tried turning it off, but it kept flickering with a red warning light. Lyra stepped back, confused but not angry. At least not yet. "If your words are false, human, you are in danger. The chief already prepares for trial. You have until the sunset." Ethan looked up at the twin suns above the horizon. They were already falling. He had only a few hours left to prove his innocence or face a battle he couldn't win. And as the cube glowed faintly in his hand, he didn't see it project a faint alien message across his wrist. System error. Emotional recognition mode activated. Lyra led Ethan through winding crystal corridors that shimmered like frozen rainbows. The air smelled faintly of ozone, humming with strange energy. Every few steps, alien eyes followed them, soldiers, merchants, even children whispering in their soft language. The rumor of the human challenger had already spread like wildfire through the city. Ethan felt every stare like a weight. His heart beat fast, his hands tight around the malfunctioning translator cube. "You're sure we can fix this misunderstanding?" he asked quietly. Lyra didn't look at him. "That depends on what you really are," she said. "If you are an invader, this test will show it. If you speak truth, the city will know." He frowned. "What kind of test?" She stopped before a great silver gate carved with alien symbols. "The Hall of Echoes," she said softly. "It reveals a person's true thoughts. No lie can survive inside." The doors slid open silently, revealing a glowing chamber filled with floating lights. Ethan followed, unsure what to expect. His reflection appeared in the air beside him, then shifted, distorted, showing flashes of his memories, Earth's burning skies, the empty ship after the explosion, and the faces of his lost crew. Lyra glanced at him. "This place reads emotion. Speak carefully." He nodded, then held the translator. "I'll let it handle the talking," he muttered. He pressed the button. The cube glowed, but before he could say anything, it began speaking on its own. "I feel fear," it said in the alien tongue. "I see beauty in her eyes." Ethan froze. "What? I didn't say that!" Lyra's head snapped toward him, her silver hair catching the light. "You admire me?" she asked cautiously. He raised his hands. "No. The device is, okay, maybe yes, but that's not the point." He groaned, slapping the cube's side. "It's translating my thoughts now?" The floating lights shimmered faster, reacting to his emotions. Lyra stared at the cube with a mix of confusion and wonder. "Your machine connects to your mind," she said. "Such technology is forbidden here," Ethan muttered. "Yeah, I can see why." Suddenly a low hum filled the air. From the floor rose a column of light. A crystal sphere hovered above it. Lyra stepped forward. "Place your hand on the sphere," she ordered. "If you speak truth, it will stay blue. If you lie, it turns red." Ethan took a deep breath. "All right." He touched the sphere. It was warm, alive almost. "I didn't come to challenge your chief," he said. The sphere glowed a calm blue. Lyra nodded. "Good. Next question. Do you seek harm to my people?" Ethan shook his head. "No, I only want peace," blue again. The tension in her shoulders eased slightly. But then the cube flickered and added, "And maybe friendship. Or more." Ethan's mouth dropped. "Oh, come on." Lyra blinked, clearly trying not to react, though a faint shimmer crossed her cheeks. "Your translator has no discipline," she said dryly. He sighed. "Neither does my luck." She turned away, hiding a small smile that quickly faded when the chief entered the hall, surrounded by guards. His golden armor gleamed and his deep voice thundered. "Is the test complete?" Lyra bowed her head slightly. "Not yet, Father." Ethan's eyes widened. "Father?" So the chief was her parent, and he was the one Ethan had challenged. Great. Just great. The chief's glowing eyes fixed on Ethan. "Human, my daughter says your words are false. Prove your honor before the suns fall, or your blood feeds the sand." Ethan wanted to speak, but the translator hummed again. "Your daughter is brave. And beautiful." The hall went silent. Lyra's eyes went wide. The chief's expression darkened.
"You dare speak such words to a Zephyrian princess?"
"I didn't say that," Ethan yelled. "It's the cube again." He tried to shut it off, pressing every button, but nothing worked. The lights flashed red, and the chief's guards stepped closer. Lyra quickly stepped between them again. "Father, please." "I believe he tells the truth. Let me fix the device. If I can make it speak correctly, you'll see his words are pure." The chief looked at her for a long, heavy moment, then slowly nodded. "You have until sunset," he said coldly. After that, his fate is sealed. He turned and left with his guards, their heavy steps echoing through the hall. Lyra exhaled, her shoulders dropping. She turned to Ethan. "You are either the unluckiest creature I've ever met," she said quietly, "or the bravest. Maybe both," he said, managing a weak smile. She reached out and took the translator cube carefully from his hand. "This is not just broken," she murmured, scanning the glowing circuits. "It is alive. It reads feelings, not only words." Ethan looked at her. "Can you fix it?" "I can try," she said. "But if I fail, we both might pay the price." Outside, the twin suns began to sink behind the glass towers, casting long shadows across the city. In the dim light, the cube pulsed faintly, like a heart learning to beat. Something deep inside it stirred, and a new line of alien text appeared on its surface. Link detected. Emotional synchronization. Complete. Ethan didn't see it, but Lyra did. Her eyes widened in shock, realizing what it meant. The device had bonded them mind to mind, and now if one of them lied, the other would suffer the pain. Lyra stared at the translator cube glowing faintly between her hands. The lines of alien script pulsed like veins of light, wrapping softly around her fingers. She had seen ancient technology before, but never something that could connect two beings through emotion. The words, emotional synchronization, complete, still shimmered faintly on its surface. Ethan rubbed his temples, tired and nervous. "You look like you've seen a ghost," he said quietly. Lyra looked up, her silver eyes bright and worried. "You don't understand," she said. "This device, it's forbidden. It doesn't just translate words. It links minds. If one of us feels pain or lies, the other feels it too." Ethan blinked. "Wait, so if I stub my toe, you feel it?" She frowned slightly. "Not physical pain. Emotional pain. Fear, anger, sadness, they will cross between us," he sighed. "That explains a lot. I've been feeling nervous and you look like you want to punch someone." Her gaze sharpened, but a small, unwilling smile formed at the corner of her lips. "Focus, human. We need to separate the link before sunset." They sat beside a crystal fountain that flowed with glowing blue water. Lyra opened the cube's small panel, exposing floating circuits that rearranged themselves like liquid glass. "Your people made this?" she asked. Ethan shook his head. "Not exactly. We found it on an abandoned colony world. Thought it was some kind of universal translator. My commander told me to bring it on the mission." She studied the patterns. "Then it was not built for you. It adapts to whoever uses it." Ethan leaned closer, his voice low. "Can you fix it?" Lyra hesitated. "I can try, but..." She looked at him, her tone softening. "When the link formed, it might have already bonded to your emotions. If I force it to break, it could hurt you." He shrugged. "Wouldn't be the first time I got hurt trying to fix someone else's mess." Lyra glanced at him curiously. "Why do you risk so much for my people?" Ethan leaned back against the fountain. "Because my people started the mistake. One of our captains fired first. I couldn't watch another war begin over a translation error." For a long moment, Lyra said nothing. Her fingers traced the cube gently, like touching something fragile. "Perhaps you are not like the others," she whispered. Ethan smiled faintly. "And maybe you're not like the others either." Before she could respond, the cube flickered again and spoke in the alien tongue. "I like her voice." "It feels safe." Lyra froze. Her cheeks shimmered faint silver blue, the color of confusion and embarrassment. She looked away quickly. "You should control your thoughts, human," she said. "I am controlling them." He protested. "That thing's just reading whatever it wants." But she wasn't angry, only quiet. The cube glowed between them, warm and alive, almost like it enjoyed their struggle. Then suddenly a sharp flash of red light burst from it. Both of them gasped as pain shot through their minds, not physical but emotional. Ethan felt a surge of panic and guilt that wasn't his. Lyra clutched her chest, feeling his fear flow into her heart. "What was that?" he asked, breathing hard. Lyra steadied herself. "You were afraid," she said softly. "The cube echoed it to me." Ethan nodded slowly. "Then I felt something too. You're scared of failing, aren't you?" Her lips parted, but she didn't deny it. "If I cannot fix this before sunset, my father will think you lied. And if he punishes you, I'll feel it too." Ethan took a deep breath. "Then we'll fix it together." They worked in silence, side by side, the translator hovering in front of them. Lyra's long fingers moved like a musician playing an invisible harp, weaving threads of light between the cube's layers. Ethan used his tools to stabilize the circuits. Every time their hands brushed, the cube pulsed softly, syncing their heartbeats. But time was running out. The light from the twin suns turned orange, spreading long shadows across the courtyard. Lyra frowned. It's stabilizing, but the core refuses to release the bond. Ethan wiped sweat from his brow. Then maybe we stop fighting it. Maybe we work with it. She looked at him in confusion. Explain. The link reacts to emotion, right? Then maybe if we both focus on something true, something honest, it'll realign itself. Lyra hesitated. That is dangerous. It will read our deepest feelings. He gave a small, lopsided smile. Then I guess we'd better be honest. She stared at him for a long moment, then slowly nodded. Very well, human. But if this fails, it won't, he interrupted softly. Trust me. They both closed their eyes. The cube floated higher, glowing brighter. Ethan focused on calm, on the memory of Earth, the oceans, the feeling of home. Lyra focused on truth, on her wish to protect her people and her growing confusion toward the strange human who refused to give up. The cube flashed white. Their minds brushed for a single heartbeat. Ethan felt her thoughts, cold, bright, disciplined, but also lonely. Lyra felt his warm, stubborn, filled with guilt and determination. Then the cube pulsed one last time and dimmed. The pain was gone. The silence that followed was deep and peaceful. Lyra opened her eyes first. It worked, she whispered. Ethan looked at her and smiled tiredly. Told you. But before they could rest, a shadow fell across the courtyard. A soldier stood at the gate, armor gleaming gold. Princess Lyra, he said, bowing his head. The suns are setting. The chief demands the human's presence in the trial circle. Ethan stood slowly. Guess our time's up. Lyra looked at him, her voice low but firm. Then I will stand with you. The cube flickered faintly again, almost as if it agreed. And together, they walked toward the circle of judgment, unaware that their connection had awakened something ancient within the device, something that was watching them both. The city's central square glowed beneath the setting twin suns, their orange light reflecting off the crystal towers like molten fire. Thousands of aliens gathered around the great circle of judgment, whispering softly as the human and the princess stepped into the center. The air was heavy, tense enough that even the wind seemed afraid to move. Ethan stood tall, though his heart was racing. His clothes were dusty, his hands trembling slightly, but he refused to show fear. Beside him, Lyra walked with quiet grace, her silver armor shining like a mirror. She held the translator cube in her hands, its faint blue glow pulsing in rhythm with their hearts. Above them, the alien chief, the great Zephyrian leader, stood upon a raised platform. His golden armor shimmered and his voice echoed across the plaza like thunder. Human Ethan Cole, the translator spoke for him. You stand accused of insulting our people and challenging your betters. Do you deny it? Ethan took a deep breath. I deny it, he said firmly. The translator malfunctioned. It twisted my words. The cube repeated his message, but everyone still looked uncertain. The chief's eyes narrowed. Words are cheap. Truth is not. He raised a clawed hand toward Lyra. Daughter, you claim to have tested him. Has he spoken lies? Lyra hesitated for a moment. Every eye turned to her. No, she said slowly. He did not lie. The cube misread his intent. A wave of murmurs spread through the crowd. Some believed her, others didn't. The chief's voice grew low and sharp. Then let the cube itself decide. We will test it before all. Ethan's stomach tightened. Lyra looked at him with silent worry. Two soldiers stepped forward carrying a crystal pillar covered with glowing runes. The cube floated above it automatically, reacting to the chief's command. The crowd grew quiet. The device will translate your hearts, the chief said. Any deceit will be revealed to all. Ethan glanced at Lyra. I thought we fixed it. Her voice was soft. We stabilized it, but it still feels our emotions. It might speak more than we intend. He grimaced. Wonderful. The test began. The chief spoke first. Human, why did you come here? Ethan looked up. To stop a war, to make peace between our people. The cube translated glowing blue, but then it added in the alien tongue. He fears failure more than death. The crowd stirred again. Ethan blinked in confusion. I didn't say that, Lyra whispered. It reads your feelings. You cannot hide them now. The chief crossed his arms. Then let him prove himself through action. He pointed to a glowing circle carved into the ground. Step forward, human. If your heart holds no deception, the circle will stay blue. If it senses guilt, it will burn red. Ethan stepped forward, the glowing ring humming under his boots. His reflection shimmered in the light as he stood in silence. Seconds passed. The crowd held its breath. The circle glowed. Blue, gasps rippled through the onlookers. Lyra exhaled in relief, a small smile breaking through her calm mask. But before she could speak, the chief's voice roared again. Then why does the cube still show unrest? The translator blinked red for a moment, then began projecting strange pulses of light. Symbols flashed across the plaza, images of memories and emotions. Ethan's lost crew, the explosion, his guilt, his fear, his stubborn will to make things right. The aliens fell silent as they watched his memories play like ghosts in the air. Lyra whispered, "It's showing them your truth." The chief frowned deeply. "You carry pain, human, yet you stand before me unbroken. Why?" Ethan's voice shook slightly, but he forced himself to speak. "Because I made a promise. No more wars. Not if I can stop them. I'll face any punishment if it means your people see we didn't mean harm." The cube glowed bright white now, translating his words perfectly. Pure, without error. The color spread across the circle, turning the ground to light. Then something strange happened. The cube floated higher, its glow intensifying. The crowd gasped as it spoke again, but not in either of their languages. Its voice echoed deep and mechanical. Emotional synchronization confirmed. Peace protocol unlocked. Lyra's eyes widened. "It's activating something." The cube released a wave of light that swept through the plaza. Every alien flinched as a sudden warmth entered their minds. Memories of Earth's forests, oceans, laughter, and humanity's struggle for survival. For the first time, the aliens felt what it meant to be human. Ethan dropped to one knee, the power overwhelming. "What's happening?" he shouted. Lyra's voice trembled. "It's connecting everyone, showing them your emotions." The chief staggered slightly, gripping his chest. For a moment his fierce eyes softened. "So much loss, and yet you still seek peace?" Ethan nodded weakly. "Yes, always." The light slowly faded. Silence filled the square. Thousands of eyes stared at him. Not with anger now, but awe. The chief looked down at his daughter, then at the human. "The device reveals no lies," he said finally. "The human speaks truth." Relief washed through the crowd. But before Ethan could even breathe, the cube flashed red again, its voice cracking with static. "Warning, system overload, emotional link unstable." Lyra grabbed it. "No, not now." The cube pulsed violently, sending out another shockwave of light. Ethan tried to move toward her, but his vision blurred. The last thing he saw was Lyra's hand reaching out for him as the world dissolved into bright white light. Then, nothing. When Ethan opened his eyes, the world was quiet. Too quiet. The air smelled faintly of burned ozone, and the ground beneath him felt like smooth glass. For a few seconds, he didn't know where he was. The last thing he remembered was the blinding flash of light, Lyra's voice shouting his name, and then nothing. Now he lay in a vast white chamber that seemed alive. The walls pulsed with slow waves of light, breathing in and out like something organic. His body ached, but when he tried to move, he felt a strange warmth inside his mind. It wasn't his own. It was calm, steady, and familiar. "Ethan," a soft voice whispered. He turned. Lyra stood near him, unharmed but visibly shaken. Her silver hair hung loose, and her armor had cracks running across it, glowing faintly blue. In her hands, she held the translator cube, half shattered, still glowing weakly. "You're awake," she said softly. Ethan sat up slowly. "What happened? Did the city—" "No," she interrupted. "The cube exploded, but it didn't destroy. It merged." "Merged?" Lyra hesitated, her eyes lowering for a moment. "It connected us completely. Your emotions, your memories, your essence. They're now linked to mine." He blinked, stunned. "You mean you can feel what I feel?" "Yes," she whispered. "And you can feel me too." Ethan opened his mouth to reply, but then he froze. A wave of calm, warm emotion washed over him. Not his own. He looked at Lyra, and the feeling grew stronger. Her fear, her curiosity, her quiet sadness beneath the surface. It all flowed through him like a second heartbeat. He stood and looked around. The white chamber shimmered, showing faint outlines of Zephyrian architecture, the judgment square, the crowd, the chief, but all frozen in light, like a memory suspended in time. "Where are we?" he asked. "In between," Lyra said. The cube's energy pulled us into its core. "This place is not real but not false either. It's where minds meet." Ethan rubbed the back of his neck. "So we're trapped inside a broken translator?" She smiled faintly. "In a way, yes." He sighed. "That's new, even for me." As they walked together through the glowing emptiness, faint echoes of voices surrounded them. His memories, her memories, merging. He saw flashes of her life. A childhood among the shining towers, her mother teaching her the old Zephyrian songs, her father's heavy crown and the burden that came with it, and she in turn saw his. Earth's blue skies, the laughter of his crew, the night he swore to prevent another war. Their steps slowed. Lyra touched the cube gently. "This bond, it's dangerous," she said quietly. "If we stay linked too long, our minds might merge forever." Ethan looked at her. "Then let's find a way out before that happens." But before they could act, the chamber darkened. The light around them flickered, and a deep voice echoed from nowhere and everywhere. Connection unstable. Conflict detected. The cube floated from Lyra's hands, glowing bright red. Its fractured surface shifted into sharp lines. Ethan reached out, but energy forced him back. "Conflict?" he shouted. "What conflict?" Lyra's eyes widened as realization dawned. "It's reading our fear, our doubt." The cube pulsed again, projecting visions around them. Ethan standing on a battlefield surrounded by alien soldiers. Then, Lyra commanding troops, her eyes cold, her father's armor gleaming beside her. The images clashed violently. "It's showing what it thinks will happen if the bond fails," she said. Ethan gritted his teeth. "No, that's not our future." He stepped forward, fighting against the energy. "Lyra, listen to me. You know me now. You feel me. You know I don't want this war." Lyra closed her eyes, pain crossing her face. She could feel his desperation, his truth, his humanity. "Then stop resisting it," she whispered. "Don't fight the link. Accept it." He froze. "Accept it?" "Yes," she said. "The cube reacts to emotion. If we fight it, it reads that as conflict. If we trust it, maybe it will release us." Ethan hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Slowly, he lowered his guard. The energy that surrounded them softened. The red light faded to pale blue. Lyra reached for his hand. When their fingers touched, a rush of memories burst through the chamber. Laughter, pain, hope, and a strange new emotion neither had felt before. The cube pulsed one final time, and a voice echoed through the emptiness. Harmony detected. Bond stabilized. The light flared white. Ethan felt warmth fill his chest as the world dissolved again. When he opened his eyes, he was back in the real world, on the plaza floor, under the fading suns. Lyra lay beside him, breathing hard, but alive. The crowd murmured softly in awe. Above them, the cube floated gently, glowing pure white for the first time. Ethan turned to her. "You okay?" She nodded weakly. "Yes. But the bond remains. I can still feel you." He smiled faintly. "Guess that means we passed the test." Lyra looked at him, her eyes soft but unreadable. "Perhaps, but now our fates are no longer separate." Before he could answer, her father's voice thundered across the plaza. "What has the human done?" Ethan stood slowly, helping Lyra to her feet. The cube hovered between them like a living heart. "Not harm," Ethan said. "Understanding." The chief stared at the glowing translator, then at his daughter, and for the first time he looked uncertain. The plaza was silent. Thousands, of Zephyrians stood frozen, their glowing eyes fixed on the two figures standing in the center, Ethan and Lyra. Between them, the translator cube floated, pulsing with gentle white light. Its glow spread outward like ripples on a calm lake, touching everyone present. Ethan could feel it, the strange warmth reaching beyond him and Lyra, brushing across every alien mind in the crowd. It wasn't painful, but it was real. Their shared emotions, his hope, her courage, were echoing outward. The cube had turned their bond into something larger. The chief, towering above the others, slammed his staff against the crystal ground. "What magic is this?" he thundered. "Why do I feel the heart of a human inside my mind?" Lyra stepped forward, her voice steady. "It's not magic, Father. The cube connects feelings, not just words. It shows the truth beneath them." Ethan nodded. "Now your people can feel what I've been trying to say all along. We don't want war." Murmurs spread through the crowd as more aliens touched their chests, confused by the sudden wave of emotion flooding them. Fear, sadness, compassion, and something softer. Some looked at Ethan with understanding, others with hesitation. The chief's golden armor shimmered under the light. His voice dropped low and dangerous. "Emotions can be deceiving, human. Feelings can be lies." Ethan met his gaze. Then, "Tell me, does this feel like a lie?" The cube responded before the chief could. Its light flared and another wave of empathy rushed through the air. The aliens gasped as new visions filled their minds. Images of Earth's destroyed cities, of humans rebuilding from nothing, of kindness born in hardship. And through it all, Lyra's presence shimmered too, her compassion, her curiosity, her inner conflict. For the first time, every being in the square felt both human and Zephyrian at once. Lyra turned toward her father. "You feel it too, don't you? His truth, his pain, his wish for peace." The chief's jaw tightened. "I feel it," he admitted, "but I also feel the danger. His heart burns too fiercely. Such passion destroys as easily as it heals." Ethan stepped closer, his tone calm but firm. "That's what makes us human. We feel too much, but it's how we learn, how we grow. It's how I ended up here trying to fix something I didn't even cause." The chief's eyes narrowed. "You speak of peace, yet peace demands control." Lyra's voice rose. "No, Father. Peace demands understanding." For a moment, silence again. The crowd watched, uncertain which side to believe. The cube hovered higher, its glow intensifying until the entire plaza shone with pale light. Then something unexpected happened. The cube's voice echoed, soft but powerful. Emotional synchronization expanding. Network connection in progress. The light spread beyond the square, across towers and streets, touching everyone in the city. Zephyrians gasped as they began to feel one another's emotions, the shared heartbeat of an entire civilization. A child began to cry, overwhelmed. A soldier dropped his weapon, trembling as he felt Ethan's guilt and Lyra's courage inside him. The air was thick with empathy, too much, too fast. Lyra stumbled, holding her head. "It's too strong." "The cube is amplifying the link." Ethan grabbed her arm to steady her. "We have to control it before it burns out again." They both reached toward the device. But before they could touch it, the chief raised his staff, shouting, "Enough!" He struck the ground, sending a golden shockwave through the light. The cube wavered, flickering between blue and red. Lyra turned to him, desperate. "Father, stop. You'll destroy it." He shook his head. "Better the machine break than my people lose their minds." The cube screamed, a sound like metal and wind. The white glow fractured into shards of light, scattering across the sky like falling stars. For a moment, everything froze. Then slowly the light faded, leaving only silence and dust. When the haze cleared, the cube floated weakly between Ethan and Lyra once more. Its glow was dim but alive. The overwhelming connection was gone, but a faint bond still pulsed between them, steady and real. Lyra looked around. The crowd was quiet, shaken but calmer. No one moved. The chief stepped closer, his expression unreadable. "You have shown me much, human," he said at last. "But your presence endangers the balance of our minds." Ethan lowered his gaze. "If that's how it must be, I'll leave. But know this, your people have seen what we are. What we feel. Maybe one day that will matter. Lyra looked at him sharply. You can't just go. The cube still links us. If you leave, it could break both of us. The chief's eyes flickered between them. Then it seems your fates are bound. He turned toward the guards. Prepare a ship. The human and my daughter will go to the High Council. Let them judge this connection and decide whether it is curse or gift. Lyra looked up at her father. You would send me away? His tone softened just slightly. You brought this upon yourself, my child. Perhaps you will find your answers beyond our sky. Ethan wanted to speak, but the words caught in his throat. The chief walked away without another glance. Lyra stood beside him in silence. He doesn't understand, she said softly. Ethan sighed. Maybe he will someday. Maybe this is just the start. As the twin suns disappeared behind the horizon, the cube pulsed once more between them, faint, like a heartbeat that refused to stop. Neither of them noticed the small crack forming along its surface, glowing faint red. Inside the machine, hidden deep within its fractured core, a new voice stirred. Secondary link initializing. New connection detected. The stars stretched endlessly beyond the viewport as the ship glided through the dark sea of space. The hum of its engines filled the silence between Ethan and Lyra. Both sat in the command chamber, staring out at the alien constellations. Between them, on a silver pedestal, floated the cracked translator cube, its glow now flickering softly between white and faint red. For hours, neither spoke. The air was heavy with unspoken words and the quiet echo of shared thoughts through their lingering bond. Finally, Ethan broke the silence. So the High Council, he said. Your father's idea of letting someone else decide if I'm a curse? Lyra looked at him, her expression unreadable. He believes the council will destroy the cube and end the connection. That is what he wants. Ethan's lips curved in a tired smile. And what do you want? She didn't answer right away. Her gaze drifted toward the cube, its fractured shell glowing faintly. I don't know anymore, she said softly. Before I met you, I believed feelings made us weak. Now, I feel everything. I see how emotion can guide truth. Ethan nodded slowly. Emotions can destroy too. But they also build bridges. The ship trembled as it entered orbit around a vast world of silver clouds and glowing rivers, the Zephyrian capital. The council's citadel rose from the planet's surface like a mountain of light. As they descended, Lyra turned to him. Whatever happens down there, remember you are not alone. I know, he said quietly. Because you're in my head. She smiled faintly, then stood. The ramp opened, flooding the chamber with golden light. The High Council chamber was unlike anything Ethan had ever seen. Tall, endless, alive with energy. Dozens of alien elders floated above luminous platforms, their robes woven from light itself. Their eyes glowed softly as they examined the human and the princess below. The daughter of our chief, one elder said, bound to an outsider through forbidden technology. Another voice joined in, cold and analytical. The cube's energy threatens balance. It must be destroyed. Lyra stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. No, the cube showed us the truth. It made us feel what others could not express. It ended hatred in one city. Imagine what it could do for two worlds. A murmur rippled through the chamber. Ethan watched her speak with quiet awe. She was fearless now, her voice strong, her eyes glowing with conviction. An elder turned toward Ethan. And you, human, what do you claim this bond brings? Chaos or harmony? Ethan took a deep breath. Both, he said honestly. Because that's what life is. It's not perfect. It's messy, full of mistakes and emotion. But it's real. That bond, it's the closest thing to true understanding either of our species will ever have. The cube pulsed between them, reacting to their words. The air shimmered with faint waves of light. The elders leaned back as energy spread through the chamber. One of them frowned. It's activating again. Lyra stepped closer to Ethan. It's responding to us. Suddenly, the cube floated higher, spinning rapidly. Its voice, mechanical yet filled with strange warmth, filled the chamber. Emotional synchronization complete. Expansion mode. Initiated. A wave of pure white light burst from the device, sweeping across the hall. Ethan felt the connection surge again, but this time, it wasn't just between him and Lyra. Every elder gasped as the bond spread. Linking them all, they could feel each other. Fear, doubt, wonder, and curiosity merged into one overwhelming harmony. For the first time in Zephyrian history, the entire council shared a single heartbeat. Ethan's thoughts mingled with Lyra's, then with the elders. He felt their loneliness, their centuries of restraint. They felt his determination, his hope for peace. When the light faded, silence filled the hall. No one spoke for a long time. Then the eldest among them, a figure wrapped in flowing gold, spoke softly. "We have felt the human's truth. His heart burns with peace, not destruction. The cube is no weapon. It is a bridge." The others nodded slowly, their expressions softened by understanding. Lyra looked at Ethan with tears in her eyes. "They understand," she whispered. But before relief could settle, the cube crackled violently. Red light shot through its cracks, and a low hum filled the air. "Warning," it said. "Link stability failing. Overload imminent." Ethan's heart jumped. "It's breaking apart." Lyra grabbed his hand. "If it shatters now, the bond could destroy us all." Without hesitation, Ethan reached toward the cube. "We can contain it together." Their hands touched its glowing surface. Pain surged through them, electric and emotional, waves of their shared memories rushing past. The desert, the test, the circle of judgment. The moment they trusted each other. Then Ethan heard her voice, not aloud but in his mind. "If one of us lets go, the bond collapses safely." "You know what that means." He clenched his jaw. "No, we both hold it. You'll die, so will you. Then we live or die together." The cube's light exploded. For a heartbeat, the universe vanished. When Ethan opened his eyes, he was lying on the floor of the council chamber. The cube was gone, just a faint shimmer of dust floating where it once hovered. Lyra knelt beside him, her hand gripping his tightly. "You're alive," she breathed. He smiled weakly. "Guess so." "The cube?" "Gone," she whispered. "But the bond, it's still there." Around them, the elders stood silent, awe in their glowing eyes. One of them spoke softly. "The device is gone, but its purpose remains. The link between our species now lives through you both." Ethan looked at Lyra, and she nodded. Her silver eyes filled with warmth. "Then let it begin," she said. And as the Zephyrian world bathed in the light of its twin suns, a human and an alien princess stood side by side, no longer strangers, but symbols of something greater, not war, not fear, understanding. And somewhere in the vast silence of space, a faint voice from the stars whispered through the void. Emotional synchronization. Eternal.